Hey family. So we just came from school. I picked Maya up from school, and she just had a meltdown in the car, and I just wanted to talk to y'all about it. I'm over here washing dishes. Our dishwasher is not working, and while we're waiting to get it fixed, been so busy at the end of the school year. My oldest daughter is graduating high school and going into the Army, that we have not had time to get this done. We keep forgetting. So I've been busting suds like old school, But anyway, so Maya, her birthday is coming up soon, and I give her some invitations to give out in class today. So she want to give out the invitations to her friends. She was making sure she gives the invitations out at the end when it was time to go home to make sure everybody had what they need. And she left her Stanley Cup at school. So she realized that she was in the driveway, we were in the driveway, and she got really upset and emotional. And when kids are young like this, they don't really know how to handle their feelings. They don't know how to handle their feelings. They don't know how to express their feelings. And I know she was really upset. And at the time, she could not figure out she couldn't figure out a solution, is what I'm trying to say. She couldn't figure out what to do. She was just stuck in feeling terrible because she left her Stanley at school, and in her mind, that was the end of it. She would no longer be able to have a Stanley Cup. It's lost, it's gone forever. She was very upset. So first I told her, okay, let's take a deep breath. Okay. And something that I don't usually do is, while talking her through everything, we pause for deep breaths throughout the time. We just kept pausing for deep breaths. Okay. So, she was saying, she was upset, and she was saying that she left it there, and now somebody going to take it. And I was just like, okay, so let's take a deep breath. So you're really upset, right? And she's nodding. And then I said, so what do you think you can do? And she just looked at me trying to fight back tears and just shook her head no. And that let me know that right now was not a time for her. She wasn't able to get past how she was feeling and actually think and talk. Sometimes kids really can't talk in the moment because they're so overwhelmed with their feelings. So I still had to help her calm down. So what I started to do, and I started to verbalize her feelings for her. So I said, so you're really upset that you left your Stanley. That Stanley Cup means a lot to you, right? And she nodded through tears, and I said, yeah, and you worked hard to earn it. And she nodded again. And so I said, so you're disappointed and you're sad? Again, she's just nodding. She's still not talking. She's still overcome with emotion, right? And I took her hand as I talked her through it. Now, here's the things. The Stanley Cup, she bought with her own money. She started working with me as my little assistant in my company, and she is paid. So she saved up for a guitar. She bought that. She saved up for Stanley. She bought that. So it really means something to her, right? So I said, okay, so after I talked about her feelings, I said, okay, so let's take another deep breath, and I was breathing with her. And it was helping me calm down too, to tell you the truth, because as a mom, when your baby girl is upset and crying, it makes you upset and cry. It's hard to see your child in pain. You know what I mean? And if we could take away all their bad feelings, we would, but we can't. That's just the simple fact of it. We can't do that, right? So I said, okay, so let's talk solution. So first, when you go back to school, you can go and check and see if anybody saw your Stanley Cup, or it might even be in the same place where you left it. That might happen. And that's when I said that. I saw her face start to soften up a little bit. I could actually see the fog clearing in her head. I saw it, right? And then I said, and then if nobody, because I know that would be her worst fear, if she goes there and it's not there. And kids don't know how to cope with this. Like, we got to actually teach them Imagine if she would, there she is. So you can see Maya wanted to say hi. She wanted to say hi. She's feeling much better. You would never even think that she was really upset and having a meltdown. She was ready to fall completely apart. But I scooped my baby up and helped her through her feelings. But she's happy now, right? So yeah, so imagine if she didn't, we didn't talk about it. She was upset about it, and then she carried that to school. She's going into the school and she's like hoping and praying that they're still there. And when she gets there, she realizes it's not there. She's gonna she doesn't know what to do with those feelings. She's gonna completely fall apart, be upset, and ruin her whole day. So I had to give her that too. I had to help her visualize. I had to help her identify her feelings. I had to help her talk about what happened. I had to help her visualize what happened if she goes in. I had to help her problem solve, right? If she goes in there and it's not there. And then I said, and then if you go in and nobody saw your, I said, if you go in and you find it, you gotta bring it home and wash it, because it's germs. You don't know what happened to that Stanley Cup while it's there, right? Trying to make her laugh. She wasn't ready yet. Okay. And then I said, and if you go and it's not there, you can get another one. And her face really opened up at that point. And I said, it's understandable why you left your Stanley Cup, because I know also the way my child is, she was feeling guilty. She was feeling like she shouldn't have left it, right? I said, it's understandable that you left your Stanley Cup today. Listen, you're at the end of the day, you have your birthday coming up, you're excited, so you just wanted to give the invitations out, and usually that's not your routine. Your usual routine is just to get your things ready to go home, right? And get your bag and make sure you have your Stanley Cup, make sure you have your book bag and your homework in your book bag. There's no homework today. She's celebrating about that. And then go home, right? But today you had to do all of that and have your invitation. So of course I understand how that happened, and it's okay. It's okay. So if you go there and nobody saw it, you can get another one. Just because you lose something by mistake doesn't mean that you can't have it again. So by that time she was able to calm down, and she was totally calm. By that time she wasn't even crying, and she saw that. And I asked if she's okay, and if she had anything else, any other thoughts or anything, And so she felt better. So she felt better by that time. And then we saw her friend across the street who she wanted to invite to her birthday party. So I went in the house and got the invitation, and then we looked both ways and crossed the street. When we were crossing the street, Maya looked up at me and said, "Mommy, does it look like I was crying?" And I looked at her and I wiped her face. I said, "No." I said, "No, you look fine, but your shirt is wet from the tears, but nobody knows. They might think that, that's snot that fell out your nose." She started laughing. And then we went across and she gave the invitation to her friend. Her friend was so happy. She said, "Oh my gosh, another one. I just went here for another party. And I told my mom I can't wait to go again. I can't believe I get to go again. Thank you, Maya." And she gave Maya a big hug. She hugged her twice. And Maya felt so good to be able to do that. And then we came in the house, and I gave her another hug too, And we went in the back. I gave her that mama hug though. I gave her a hug, rubbed her back, made sure she was okay with everything. She had a solution. Look at her in the back jamming. And guess what, y'all? Ain't even no music on. That's just how my baby is. She'll dance even when there's no music. Right? So we went in the back and checked the plants, see if they needed water, and they were fine, and came in, and now we're here cleaning up. Oh, I'm checking my dress because I done put bleach in this water. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't mess my dress up. Oh, I need to get an apron. I used to have an apron, y'all, but I'm gonna get an apron so I don't mess up my clothes when I'm cleaning. All right, hopefully there's no bleach stains. I'm checking now as I'm talking to y'all. Nope, no bleach stains. Everything cool. Whew. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope this helps somebody when their kids have big emotions and don't know how to process them. Eventually, she'll grow up. She'll be able to figure out how to solve her own problems, without help. But I'm here now.